The Israeli emissary program is just, it's awesome. Please, you're gonna love it, and we combine culture. It's a great thing. It's awesome.
Hi, I'm HILA. I was an emissary in Fairfield in the year 2007. Since then I joined the army, I studied in law school, now I work in the Ministry of Finance. The year in Fairfield and in your amazing community influenced me more than I can remember or even say or recognize, because it's with me for a lifetime.
Each year we bring 4 young Israeli teens who've just graduated from high school and have deferred their army service for a year to come to our community and spend a year within our Jewish community, in our Jewish agencies, in our synagogues, our religious schools, our preschools, and just share their love of Israel with our community.
And we get to learn like Hebrew, and we're learning all this stuff about Israel.
Yeah, like current events and like what's going on.
Like every day, every week we get to learn something new, but it's also really fun. So learning is fun.
Adon!
Shalom!
Stein! Achad! Very good! Okay.
Like one of the kids told me that he told like his parents about me and they want me to come to dinner. And just like it's fun to hear that what I'm talking to them, they really take it home and they really listen to what I say. And
she's not really just an emissary, she's our friend too. So she'll like help us and talk to us through a bunch of like situations.
And when I think about my shlichut, I think of all of the people that I made connection with, and all these people that I'm still in touch with are still designing and affecting my life in so many ways. And the shlichut and this great time with all of my families and friends just, I think, made me a better person.
We have 167 emissaries throughout the world sharing their love of Israel, really due to the courage and foresight of our community 20 years ago.
Hello, my name is Gaya. I was an emissary in Westport Fairfield in 2015-16, and now I'm an officer in the Psychotechnic Array, and we kind of interview and evaluate every teenager in Israel before they go in the military so they can get designated roles suited for them.
We've been so blessed by this wonderful Young Emissary program. It's really brought so much aspect of Israel life and Israel culture into our communities.
I did a challah baking event in B'nai Torah, and I worked really hard on it because the first time that I did something for adults, not only for kids and teenagers, and I was a little bit stressed from it, and I didn't know like how it's going to be. And my dream it was that 10 or 12 people will come, and then in the day of it was Sunday, and I came and I saw, I think it was 23 mothers that came to do the challah baking and learn about Shabbat in Israel, and I was super excited. I was really to see that people really care about Israel and care about the fact that they have emissary. And a lot of people just told me, I asked them, why did you come? And they told me, my son or my daughter say so much about like the activities that you do, and I have to come to see who you are, and that's made me feel like I'm important.
But the emissary program is not just about the large programs we do about Israel and the Yom Ha'atzmaut celebrations. The emissary program is also about the smaller moments. It's about the time when a child runs to welcome an emissary when they walk into the door of the classroom and throws their arms around them. It's about the times when the emissaries are in the community shopping at CVS or having dinner in a restaurant, and a young child runs over to them and throws their arms around them and only wants to drag them to introduce them to their parents, so they hear all about the Israeli girl or boy that's been teaching them in the religious schools. It's really about the personal connections that are made with each and every person.
was a great video that was produced by our own David Weisberg. And he said, I needed to keep myself busy, so I thought I would create this beautiful tribute to our emissary program. So that's what he did. So I think it's great. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the Federation for Jewish Philanthropy of Upper Fairfield County 2018 Gala. My name is Jim Sugarman, and I'm the chair of the Federation's Board of Directors. Thanks to your support and generosity, Federation has engaged over 400 young families through PJ Library, improved literacy to the underserved through Books to Connect, and created the Bond to Israel for thousands of children and adults for the Israeli Emissary Program. Through our beneficiaries, locally and overseas, we have provided funding for camp scholarships, therapy and clothing for at-risk children, teens, and adults, funding for kosher food to feed the hungry, medicine for the elderly in Ukraine, vocational training to Ethiopian immigrants, and so much more. Federation has brought together our community with the wonderful production of Fiddler on the Roof, Mitzvah Heroes, educational programming, the Food Festival, and our Kaleidoscope magazine. Federation is committed to building a Jewish community that is welcoming, engaging, and most important, supports people in need at home, in Israel, and around the world, and for generations to come. We are here tonight to honor two couples who exemplified these values, Shelley and Michael Casson, and Sharon and Brian Miles. Shelley, Michael, Sharon, and Brian, you make us proud, and we are honored to honor you. It is now my pleasure to welcome the Federation's CEO and tonight's MC, David Weisberg.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so grateful that you're all here. This is a very big, special night for our Federation, among other things, because we have the opportunity to honor two couples who've done so much, both for our community and for the Jewish world, Shelley and Michael Casson and Sharon and Brian Miles. So excited to have the opportunity to honor them. And last year we put together a really great show for the Gala. Last year we focused on songs from the Jewish musicals on and off Broadway. So we wanted to do something really special again this year, and so we decided we'd focus on songs by great Jewish songwriters. And last year I had these three wonderful performers who all volunteered their time to perform for us, and we wanted to make sure that we reached that same very special bar this year. And I'm delighted that we have three incredible performers, and while you'll see them do a lot of collaboration tonight, together and with special guests, the truth is that none of them met before 3 o'clock this afternoon. And so I'm really grateful for the way that they've stepped out and done some new things for us. So let me introduce first, this is a real pop rock innovator and producer. He was, in fact, when he was 15 years old, I think, he was already producing Tiny Tim. He's produced Pete Seeger and worked with Donovan and with Lou Reed with his own band, The Bongos. He was a nominee for the first ever MTV Video Music Awards. Please welcome Richard Barone. Next, this is a really extraordinary Jewish musician. She is the cantor at Romemu Congregation in New York. You may know her from her work with the band Pharaoh's Daughter, the band Darshan, her own solo work. Very impressively, she's performed at a Passover Seder with Laurie Anderson and Suzanne Vega, my good friend Basia Schechter. And finally, and this is someone who I didn't know before I asked him to be at the Gala, and I've known him from a lot of things, all kinds of TV and Broadway. He was had these regular, really funny appearances on The Late Show with David Letterman. He was the voice of Michigan J. Frog on the WB network. But I became a huge fan of his when he played the lead role of Officer Lockstock in Urinetown on Broadway. When I asked him to do this, he said, since I just had my ancestry tested, my DNA tested, and discovered that I'm 16% Jewish, I can't say no. Please welcome Jeff McCarthy. And we need someone to play the piano, and not just any person. He's back to join us again. 5-time Grammy nominee, Seth Farber. So Jeff, I was excited when I told you needed to sing 3 songs by Jewish songwriters. The first person you went to wasn't a Broadway person, wasn't someone a lot of people think of as a Jewish songwriter. Why did you choose a song by Randy Newman?
He's an atheist, isn't he?
So.
Why? Because he's written some phenomenal songs, and this one in particular, Real Emotional Girl. We were talking about it this afternoon. You're not sure whether he's sincere or being sarcastic or what when he's singing. But for me, it's a very genuine, deeply felt song about some female in his life. When I sing it, I generally think of my mother, which is where probably my Jewish DNA comes from that side of the family. I'm finding that out as we speak on Ancestry.com. So.
Great. We're going to have lots of special guests coming on tonight, but the first one, lots of you will know him. He's the rabbi of Beit Haverim. He's the jazz rabbi of this entire community, Rabbi Greg.
Getting ready for surgery. She's a real emotional girl. She wears her heart on her sleeve. And every little thing you tell her, she'll believe. She really will. She even cries in her sleep. I've heard her many times before. I never had a girl who loves me half as much as this girl loves me. She's real emotional. 18 years she lived alone. She was Daddy's little girl. Daddy helped her move out on her own. She met a boy. He broke in her heart. Now she lives alone. She's very, very careful. Yes, she is. She's a real emotional girl. She lives down deep inside herself. She turns on easy like a hurricane. You would not believe. Gotta hold on tight to her. She's a real emotional girl.
So by Marcia, tell me about meeting Leonard Cohen.
I was in Montreal. I was putting a score together for a film about leaving the Orthodox world. And I was in a car, and I was also working with a producer trying to do kind of a secular album, and I was struggling on lyrics. And I said, I'm in Montreal. I'm in the place where like the best lyricist ever lives. And if I could just get Leonard Cohen to like collaborate with me, then that would be awesome. I don't have 30 seconds, so that's all I can tell you.
Let's do a song by Leonard Cohen. And I think among your special guests from Guy Congregation Shir Shalom is Debbie Katchko-Gray. Enter Debbie Katchko-Gray.
By fire.
So Richard, for those who are unfamiliar, because he's an artist who left us so young, can you just say a couple words about Phil Oakes of blessed memory?
Of course. Is that me or you? Phil Oakes was a very, very special singer-songwriter in the early to mid-60s, coming out of Greenwich Village. I just did an album on that subject, and Phil is sort of a centerpiece for me because he wrote both very poetic songs and also very topical songs. His most famous ones were sometimes his anti-Vietnam War songs, but he also wrote poetry like the song I'm going to sing and others. I'm actually playing the part of Phil in a movie that we're filming later this year called The Ladies of Laurel Canyon, which is going to be set in LA at the Troubadour, and he goes out there to sing. He died very young. He was probably 35, I think, at the oldest. But left a beautiful legacy of material, and I don't want it to be forgotten, and it should not be forgotten. Does anyone out, are you familiar with Phil Oakes' music? Thank you. But I think, especially for younger students, I'm teaching a course at the new school about Greenwich Village, and Phil Oakes will be one of the focal points of that. Would you like me to do a song by Phil? Is that what you're leading up to? Okay, let me just get a sip of water. That was so beautiful, Garcia. And you too. That was awesome. I'm going to sing a song that Phil recorded only once at Carnegie Hall in 1966. It's called When I'm Gone. Okay, I'm going to go play again now. There's a beautiful audience out there. There's no place in this world where I belong when I'm gone, and I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. You won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here, and I won't feel the flowing of the time when I'm gone. All the pleasures of love will not be mine when I'm gone. My pen won't pour a lyric line when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't breathe the bracing air when I'm gone, and I can't even worry about my cares when I'm gone. I won't be asked to do my share when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't be running from the rain when I'm gone, and I can't even suffer from the pain when I'm gone. I can't say who's to praise and who's to blame when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't see the golden of the sun when I'm gone, and the evenings and the mornings will be one when I'm gone. I can't be singing louder than the guns when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. All my days won't be dances of delight when I'm gone, and the sands will be shifting from my sight when I'm gone. I can't add my name into the fight when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. Oh, when I won't be laughing at the lines when I'm gone. Can't question how or when or why when I'm gone, and I can't live proud enough to die when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. There's no place in this world where I'll belong when I'm gone, and I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. You won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it. I guess I'll have to do it. I guess I'll while I'm here.
Thank you very much. So Jeff, the next song you said you wanted to sing was a song by the Broadway songwriting team of Cy Coleman and Betty Compton, whose birth name was Basia Cohen and Adolph Green, and you said you've had the opportunity to actually spend time with all three of them.
Oh yes, I did this role. They revived On the 20th Century back in 1982 when I first got to New York. And Cy was teaching me this song at 890 Broadway, which was Michael Bennett's studios. Adolph was there helping out, and I'm a nervous, 26-year-old or something. And over my shoulder, Cy says, "Oh yeah, come on in." And I turn around, and in comes Elaine May, Warren Beatty, and Dustin Hoffman. So here I'm surrounded by Mount, what do they call it? Rushmore. Anyway, that was my introduction to New York City. I've got to look at a lyric here before we start. This is from On the 20th Century, The Legacy. Go ahead. You may feel bad for a while, but it's better far this way. For I am much too good a showman to dwindle like a snowman melting down one sunny day. My office once overflowed with celebrities galore. I ruled Broadway like a king. But now, what lies in store? You don't want to see me that way. Boys, I know when I've had my day, the story ends, the drama's through. I leave my worldly possessions to you. To you. I leave my cape and my fedora. To you I leave my mustache wax. To you I leave an ostrich fan from Floridora. To you I leave my unpaid income tax. Oh boys, dry your eyes. I don't want to see weeping. I want to see smiles and pride in your memories of your association with me. And someday when you're feeling low, I want you to go to your closet, and when you open that closet door, take out my cape and take out my fedora and put them on and think of me and call to mind my charismatic aura and the legacy I left to So, Basia, we called this gala the Great Jewish Songbook from Sondheim to Simon, thinking that there was only one Simon to choose. You've actually chosen two Simons.
It's so funny because I also realized that my mother's maiden name was Simon.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd play some Simon Says.
So let's do some Paul Simon.
I just want to say one thing about Paul about all the songs that I chose. I needed, when you said pick Jewish songwriters, I figured that's really, really like very broad. I figured I'd make myself a smaller category. And I tried to choose music from songwriters that had some overlap with like the cantorial world that I'm in, like being a HAZAN or, just, so obviously the Who by Fire was from Untitled Chapter. And so I added Untitled Chapter. And this is like, I think it's one of the very first nigunim. That the Light I Like part is like a big nigun. So at the very end, would you please all sing the nigun with me?
All right. The boxer, Anna Richards, going to sing harmony, and I think Greg's playing, and you're also going to be joined by a good friend of mine, a great guitarist, one of my favorite songwriters and novelists down from Northampton, Peter Nelson.
am just a poor boy, though my story's seldom told. I have squandered my resistance for a pocket full of mumbles, such a promises. Oh, I'm just till the man he hears what he wants to hear, disregards the rest. When I left my home, my family, I was no more than a boy in the company of strangers, the quiet of the railway station running scared. Laying low, seeking out the poorer quarters where the ragged people go, looking for the places only they would know. Asking only workers' wages, I come looking for a job, but I get no offers. Just to come on from the wars on 7th Avenue. I do declare there were times that I was so lonesome, I took some comfort there. La 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 la. And I'm laying out my winter clothes and wishing I was going home. When the New York City winters are leading me going home. In the clearing stands a boxer and a fighter by his trade, and he carries the reminder of every glove that lay him down and cut him till he cried out in his anger and his shame. I am leaving, but the fighter still remains. La 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 la
Richard, I think that this is probably going to be the first ever and maybe only Jewish Federation gala in history that includes a song by the Velvet Underground. Just tell us a little bit about your relationship with Lou Reed.
Well, first I just want to say that also the album this is from was called The Velvet Underground and Nico, and it was released, I think today's its anniversary, 50 years ago. Yeah. I worked with Lou Reed many times, and he knew I did this song. He liked this arrangement that we're going to do, that Rayhan and I are going to do, very much. Well, I think maybe because he was so well known for his more rock and experimental music. The Velvet Underground especially were one of the, even though they came out of the Greenwich Village music scene, like I was describing before, so many of the great singer-songwriters like Bob Dylan, Simon and Garfunkel and others, he had the same producer, the Velvets, as Simon and Garfunkel and Dylan. They had the same producer in Tom Wilson. So they were part of that community, but very different, very experimental. Their manager, of course, was Andy Warhol, so they were in the art world. But Lou did write some very beautiful ballads, and this is one of them. It's called I'll Be Your Mirror. reflect what you are. In case you don't know, I'll be the wind, the rain and the sunset, the light on your door, to show that you're home. And when you think the night has seen your mind, that inside you're twisted and unkind, let me stand to show that you are blind. Please put down your hands, 'cause I see you. I find it hard to believe you don't know the beauty you are. But if you don't, then let me be your eyes, your hand to the darkness, so you won't be afraid. And when you think the night has seen your mind, that inside you're twisted and unkind, I will stand to show that you are blind. Please put down your hands, 'cause I see you. I find it hard to believe you don't know the beauty you are. But if you don't, then let me be your eyes, your hand to the darkness, so you won't be afraid. And when you think the night has seen your mind, that inside you're twisted and unkind, I will stand to show that you are blind. Please put down your hands, 'cause I see you. I'll be your mirror. I'll be your mirror. I'll be your mirror.
So Jeff, you played Sweeney Todd with Stephen Sondheim in the audience.
Yeah.
Did you know he was in the audience?
I did. My mother, Sweeney Todd, those are the two people that can make me nervous.
So I'm so pleased you're going to sing something from Sweeney Todd tonight. And you said you needed a Mrs. Lovett, so I had to go find a Mrs. Lovett.
Where did you find her?
I'm happy to introduce someone who I've known for longer than just since 3 o'clock this afternoon. Up from Philadelphia, Miss Allison Weisberg.
This is my friend. See how it glistens. See this sunshine, how he smiles in the light. My friend, my faithful friend. Speak to me, friend. Whisper, I'll listen. I know you've been locked out of sight all these years, like me, my friend. When now, my friend.
Never you
Soon I'll unfold you. You'll know splendors you never had dreamed all your days. My lucky friend. I'm your friend. Till now your shine was merely silver.
Silver's good enough for me.
Friend, you shall drip rubies. You'll soon drip precious rubies. At last, my right arm is complete again.
All right, Master, the second assignment is...
Carly Simon.
Yes. And tell everyone about the song you chose.
This is called The New Jerusalem. It was in Working Girl, and I looked at the video and I remembered that video from the, and it just feels like it's still connected to like the 80s. And I felt like the music needs to be kind of brought into a newer place, like a New Jerusalem place. I really see it as a spiritual song, and it was really like about working girls. So I don't know. So I tried to take a little out of that, even though it's from there.
Right, and I said, if you're coming here, you need to play the oud.
Oh, that's what he said. He did say that.
So let's hear some oud with Carly Simon. Wow, and Ilana Afghan, who was not introduced before. Thank you, Ilana. And if we're going to do just one more song, and we're going to do just one more song, of Jewish songwriters, for me, it would have to be, I think, one of the great Jewish songwriting teams, Burt Bacharach and Hal David.
Both of them, you know, Burt Bacharach's music was so complex and yet so simple. That's the magic of it, to me. The message comes through with beautiful clarity. Even if the chords are complex and the music can be at several keys at the same time. You know, that's the beauty of Burt Bacharach and Hal David. And Hal's lyrics, you know, on this next song that we're going to sing together, it's one of those songs from the 60s that had a message that still reverberates today, sometimes I think even more so than ever. You know, it's a prayer. And you know, what we're going to invite you to do is sing along with us, audience, because it's that kind of song, and I think you'll know it. It's a beauty. Should we go up and should we just hit it? Should we do it?
With more special guests than you can shake a stick at.
You.
Let's you start, Richard.
Including you, okay.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. We don't need another mountain. There are mountains, hillsides enough to climb.
There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What
The world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
Lord, we don't need another meadow.
There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. 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 No, not just for some, but for everyone.
Richard. That was fantastic. My name is Nancy
And my name is David Cohen, and it's our pleasure to co-chair tonight's gala with Liz and Michael Foster.
Tonight, we are proud to honor our friends Sharon and Brian Miles for their incredible work for the community. Sharon and Brian moved to Fairfield in 1991 and brought their values of tzedakah with them. Their involvement with the Jewish community in our area began at the Jewish Community Center of Greater Bridgeport. Sharon, a young mother and an elementary school teacher, joined B'nai B'rith Women, where she chaired their membership and fundraising committees, and eventually became president when the organization evolved into Jewish Women International. Sharon taught at the JCC Nursery School and at Temple Israel Hebrew School in Westport. She served on the Education Committee at Congregation Rhoda Shalom in Bridgeport and co-chaired the committee, the Sisterhood's Purim Shalach Manot program at Congregation Bethel in Fairfield, where she is currently a member of their membership committee. Last year, Sharon served on the Federation for Jewish Philanthropy's Allocations Committee. Inspired by that experience, she joined the Federation's board this year.
Many years ago, I remember studying the story of Yehoash, one of the early kings of Judah. At one point, King Yehoash became concerned about the cracks that started to form in the base of Mikdash, the Holy Temple. So King Yehoash commanded that a large chest be built and hole cut in its cover so that people entering the Holy Temple would deposit their contributions into the box, and the funds would be used to pay the tradespeople who repaired the Holy Temple. I'm sure many of you are wondering, what does Yehoash, an ancient king of Judah, have to do with my friend Brian Miles? But actually, there are many parallels. If you read the book of Kings, it says that King Yehoash said, "V'chazku et bedek habayit," which literally means that the funds should be used to strengthen the cracks in the building. So we see that King Yehoash wanted not just to repair the base of Mikdash, but he wanted to strengthen it as well. Today we don't have the Holy Temple, but the Holy Temple can be considered an allegory for the Jewish community. In every generation, there must be those who step forward, who not only repair the cracks, but who also strengthen the Jewish community's buildings and its institutions. Brian is truly one of those who's invested his time and his treasure to strengthen the local Jewish community. Brian's commitment to serve began when he joined the board of the UGA Federation of Eastern Fairfield County. His work on the Finance Committee facilitated the sale and transition to the new entity, the Federation for Jewish Philanthropy. Brian's fond memories of playing basketball with friends at the JCC led him to advocate for the construction of the J Fitness Center at Jewish Senior Services so that there would still be a place where local Jews could come and play together. Brian sits on the board of the directors of the JSS Men's Club, and he co-chairs the annual breakfast fundraiser. Brian and Sharon donate generously to the Federation for Jewish Philanthropy, to Congregation Bethel in Fairfield, the American Committee for the Weizmann Institute of Science, the American Jewish Committee, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, as well as other organizations, including Smart Kids with LD and the Connecticut Food Bank. Also, like King Yehoash of old, Brian is a man of action. With his great intelligence, irrepressible sense of humor, and Brooklyn-esque charm and intensity, Brian is a natural leader, and not one who leads from behind. Whether for the benefit of the Jewish community or on the ski slopes, when Brian says, "Follow me," follow him we do. It's an honor to be considered his friend. Zach and Wendy should be so very proud of their parents, who have been such outstanding role models. We hope they will follow with their fine example and their dedication to tzedakah and of strengthening our Jewish community.
Sharon and Brian, you are our friends and role models, and we thank you for giving back in so many ways. So, in keeping with Yehoash's legacy, I am pleased to present this engraved tzedakah box to you as a token of our appreciation. Sharon and Brian, please join us on stage.
kind words. Good evening. Sharon and I are so happy to be here tonight and glad to be sharing this honor with Shelley and Michael Casson. We would like to express our appreciation to the FJP's board and its staff for this honor, especially to David and Janet, as well as this evening's co-chairs, Nancy and David Cohn, and Liz and Michael Foster, and to our friends who served on the Gala Committee and planned such a wonderful event. When we moved to Fairfield, Sharon was looking for a nursery school for Wendy, and I was looking for a pickup basketball game. We both found what we were looking for at the JCC of Bridgeport. Through our time spent at the JCC, we became aware of and involved in the UJA Federation, and subsequently involved in the newly merged Federation for Jewish Philanthropy. So why do we continue to volunteer and support FJP? Sharon and I gave this some thought and found 3 main reasons. The first reason is because we're Jewish, and we both remember hearing our grandparents and parents saying, if we don't give to Jewish causes, who will? The second reason is by supporting this one organization, we can achieve so much. With all of the complex global issues today, how can just the 2 of us make a difference? We can support FJP. What can Sharon and I do about the opioid crisis? Well, FJP supports Positive Directions, which operates a treatment program for adolescents and their families coping with addictive behaviors. How can the 2 of us help fight poverty? FJP supports the American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee, which provides welfare and hunger relief for Jews around the globe. What can we do to strengthen our Jewish community for future generations? FJP runs the Young Emissary program, supports the Hillel at UConn, Jewish schools and camps in our area, and the Carl and Dorothy Bennett Center for Judaic Studies here at Fairfield University. By supporting FJP, look at all we can do. Finally, the third reason Sharon and I give to FJP is because it makes us happier. Lately, we've been on a podcast binge. We recently listened to an enlightening segment on the TED Radio Hour about happiness and money. One of the segments discussed a Harvard Business School study about spending money. It suggested that money can buy happiness, and went on to prove it with an experiment. Participants in this study arrive one morning and are asked a simple question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? They usually answer in the range between 7 and 9. The participants are divided into 2 groups, and each one is handed an envelope with $20. The first group is told to go out and spend the $20 on themselves. The second group is asked to spend the $20 on somebody else. The group that spent the money on themselves mostly put the $20 in their wallet and bought stuff they would normally buy, like coffee, food, or makeup. The group that was asked to spend the money on somebody else spent it differently than they normally do, like giving money to the homeless, street performers, or buying a present for a friend. At the end of the day, all the participants are again asked, how happy are you? What they found was that for the people who spent the money on themselves, their happiness level was the same at the end of the day as it was at the beginning. But for the people who spent the money on somebody else, were consistently happier than they were than when they started their day. The study concludes that spending money on others makes you think differently about your money, and you get a benefit of increased happiness. So, giving to FJP makes us happier. Maybe not at the exact moment we're writing the check, but at the end of the day, we're happier. Of course, we know that this is the mindset of everyone in this room. And so we are most grateful tonight for everyone who's here for FJP, especially family and friends from near and far who came to share this very special evening with us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Liz Foster.
I'm
great pleasure to introduce Shelley and Michael Cassidy, two people held in the highest esteem by so many of us, as we deservedly honor them this evening. Shelley and Michael were among the first people we met when we moved to Westport, and they had recently moved here from Boston. We have known them and their wonderful daughters, Diana, Amy, and Laura, for nearly 30 years. We were thrilled when their family grew to include two terrific husbands, Ezra and Matt, one great boyfriend, Keith, and two beloved grandsons, Max and Teddy, with another grandchild on the way. What outstanding role models Shelley and Michael have been as they consistently devote their time and resources to a multitude of organizations close to their hearts, especially those fostering the well-being of the Jewish community.
Their philanthropic activities range from the international to as local gets. Michael's main focus has been his incredibly active and prominent roles with AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, serving on its national board and in the recent past as both its chairman and its president. Michael and Shelley work tirelessly and travel the world to further AIPAC's mission to strengthen, protect, and promote the U.S.-Israel relationship in ways that enhance the security of the United States and Israel.
Shelley's involvement in community and international affairs is equally impressive. She and Michael were instrumental in the formation of the Conservative Synagogue, and Shelley served as its president in the early years. She also served as second selectman in Westport from 2005 to 2013. She has been a board member and treasurer of Pink Aid since 2016, an organization that provides vital assistance to underserved women with breast cancer. On the world stage, Shelley serves on the board and is president of the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, a bipartisan think tank whose mission is to advance a balanced and realistic understanding, a balanced and realistic understanding of American interests in the Middle East and to promote the policies that secure them.
We could probably go on for hours detailing Michael and Shelley's other philanthropic activities, including, of course, the Federation, Achievement First Charter Schools, and Connecticut Coalition for Achievement Now. But we think you all know why they're being honored here tonight, and why we, as the Jewish Federation, and Liz and I, personally, are so greatly blessed to be counted among their friends.
Shelley and Michael, please join us on stage so that I present you with this engraved tzedakah box as a token of our appreciation for all that you do on behalf of the community, the nation, and the Jewish people.
Thank you, Brian and Sharon. I want to start by wishing you a mazel tov. So glad our paths have crossed in this wonderful way, and you are a hard act to follow wherever you are. So, thank you everyone for being here tonight and for braving the elements. I wrote this earlier. Most especially, I want to thank our two daughters, Amy and Laura, for coming out from the city. We all miss your older sister, Diana, but she does have a great excuse caring for our 2 grandsons. And to all 3 sisters, and to your partners, the sisters as you call yourselves, the greatest award we could ever receive is seeing how you have grown and how you lead your lives as grounded and active young Jews, proud of your identity and your heritage. That award means the most to us. We both come from strong Jewish families, Zionist and devoted to Jewish Federation. I can remember my mother. I was a kid. She was on the phone with pledge cards, and she was delighted when she got someone to agree to maybe an $18 donation. So looking back, it's no surprise to me that as young, newly married, and living in Boston, we got involved in Federation, CJP in Boston, before anything else. For Federation is the central address for Jewish life in any community in this country. I was working downtown. It was well before the internet. I saw an insert in the Jewish paper for a young women's division call-a-thon. Remember those? And decided to drop by. 2 women greeted me, and then they whispered feverishly to each other before saying, "Please come to the back office with us." "You see," they said, "we don't know you. But what we do know is that to ask someone for a donation, you need to have made one yourself. Could you do $1 a day or 360 for the year?" Well, that was doable, and that started us on our way. Those 2 women became lifelong friends. Not so many years later, in leadership of Young Women's Division, I went to a national gathering, and I heard Betty Kane, the National Women's Chair at the time. Obviously, I've never forgotten it or her. And what she said was, the way to look at giving is not what people think. You shouldn't give until it hurts, she said. Instead, you should give until it feels good. Give until you feel how good and special and joyous and how happy it makes you to know you made a difference in someone's life, or until you feel you've made a difference in whether that synagogue thrives or is built, or whether you made a difference to that breast cancer patient who gets the electricity and rent that she needs, and I could go on. We've been blessed to be able to do just that, and doubly blessed to do it together, to feel that joy together as a couple and as a family. We just returned from AIPAC's annual policy conference. The theme this year was Choose to Lead. At first, I found it a strange theme, but I've come to appreciate it as indeed a brilliant theme. Today, we have many choices. We are, in a very real way, Jews by choice, all of us, all of us. And yes, all of us have the choice to lead as well. There are too few of us working for the causes we espouse, a thriving Jewish life and a strong state of Israel, and those 2 are connected. So we all need to make that choice, to choose to lead. Thank you, everyone from FJP, Federation, co-chairs, everyone who worked on this event, David, the talent. It was a beautiful event. It's been a beautiful event. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
So because of the impending storm, I cut my remarks down to a couple hours. I too want to thank all of you. I want to thank FJP, and I want to congratulate our new friends, Sharon and Brian. As Shelley just told you, a week ago today, we were at the AIPAC conference in Washington, and we were in a small meeting with a man who's a leader in the Israeli security establishment. And somebody asked him the age-old question, "So, General, what do you worry about at night?" And he said, Israel is capable of dealing with terror, and we're capable of dealing with military threats. But what I'm concerned about, this is him talking, but I'm concerned about it too, is the cohesiveness
of the Jewish people. And if you think about it, the key to Jewish survival over millennia is cohesiveness. All of Israel are responsible for each other. I think you heard from Shelley and me, and I think you heard from Sharon and Brian too. We all take that very much to heart. So we see federation as the building block of that. An organization here and organizations around the country and around the world that build strong communities that will enable the Jewish people to go on. I was thinking about music since it's been a musical evening. And when I started paying attention to music in the mid-60s, a song that I liked very much is an old spiritual that the Staple Singers recorded, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? It's been recorded by lots of artists over a long period of time. And I think that the circle will be unbroken. But honestly, and Shelley and I are so appreciative for all of you who came out tonight, but next year we need more people to be in this room. And I would encourage you to, everybody, to tell a friend, to tell a neighbor, to tell a business associate about the impact of federation and why you give time and resources to federation so that we can have more people in this room next year. It's been great being part of this evening. We feel so privileged to be honored and do what we can do, and both of us want to say thank you. Good night.
That I want to give, and there are lots of amazing volunteers associated with this event. You heard from Liz and Michael Foster and Nancy and David Cohen. I have some great board members who do some incredible things and sometimes some things that are unexpected to contribute to events. 3 of my board members I want to mention who contributed to this event in just different, unexpected ways. One is our board member, Rabbi Greg Wall, who is up here playing on hiding backstage, who's been the stage manager for us to make sure that everything ran like clockwork. And for a board member who just gives so much of her professional expertise, she designed the invitations and the entire journal book, Carolyn Wasserloff, who is somewhere out there. And then I want to thank the wonderful Federation staff, but in particular, Janet Wainwright, who's worked for our Federation for years. Janet's worked for us for years, not as our development manager, stepped up into that role just a couple months ago while this event was already in the process of being planned and made sure every detail was just perfect. And I'm so grateful and want to express my and our appreciation. So before this event, I talked to Shelley and Michael and Sharon and Brian to try to figure out what cause was at the intersection of the 2 things that they cared about the most when it came to federation. KESSLER do so much work for Israel, and Sharon and Brian do so much work for children in this community. And we said, well, what's the perfect intersection? The perfect intersection is the Young Emissary program, which we showed you in that video when we started the program. Not only is it an important program here, the Young Emissary program is, I think, we said 167 young emissaries around the country and around the world started in this community. That is this community's gift to the Jewish world is the Young Emissary program. Impact here in terms of what it teaches our children, the relationships that it builds with Israel. I should also say, quite frankly, it has a big impact here in terms of our budget, but we think it's very, very important. And so when I asked Sharon, Brian, and Shelley and Michael, if we can raise some extra money tonight in your honor, what can we raise it for? And they said, let's raise it for the Young Emissary program. So in everybody's program tonight, there's an envelope with a pledge card. I want to introduce to you our 4 young emissaries, Itamar, Bar, Ofek, and Yuval. They're going to come down the aisles with pens and with bags. And I just want to ask you to take 2 minutes, fill out that pledge card. As Shelley said, give till it makes you feel good. And let's make sure that that extraordinary young emissary program continues to have an impact for years to come. So I will hum the Jeopardy theme for 60 seconds. We'll have the emissaries come up and down the aisle. Please do something to make a difference in Sharon, Brian, and Shelley and Michael's honor. And thank you so much for being part of this extraordinary evening. Thank you.